So, ladies and gentlemen, what would you think of a boss that hires one of the best workers he can find and start criticizing that person even before he arrives to do the job he was paid to do? Well, in the media it happens all the time, but in hockey it doesn't happen very often. Unless you're Harold Ballard and the player you're criticizing before you arrive is the great Inge Hammarstrom. Now, Inge Hammarstrom was considered one of the best of the European, what I call the first wave of players that came to the NHL and WHA in the early 1970s. Now, he came to heavy prominence and was scouted by Toronto at the Worlds and in the Swedish Elite League for many years. Now, Inge played his first hockey games at the top National League level in Sweden in '63 for Tibro IK at the age of 15, which would kind of make him kind of a midget junior. Now, the 68-69 season, he left for British IF, where he would win the Swedish Championship 4 times, 70, 71, and 72, and when he returned from North America in 1980. Now, in 73, Hammarstrom became the first player from Tibro IK to play in the NHL. Now, he would spend the next 5 seasons with the Maple Leafs and later on 2 with the Blues, but Harold Ballard and the team Toronto concept brought him and Borje Salming in to augment the fact they were figuring to lose players in the WHA, which they did. They're using them as a stopgap. Now, Hammarstrom's major recognition came for the Swedish men's national ice hockey team that medaled at the Sapporo Winter Olympics in Japan in '72. Now, his first 2 seasons with Toronto were very successful on the ice, but not off the ice. He was often criticized for not scoring more goals. He scored 20 and 21 and actually 19 in his 3rd season, 24 in his 4th season. He was criticized for not being aggressive enough. He wasn't taking enough penalties. He was criticized for with the words, which is derogatory, of course, chicken Swede, the old Don Cherry name. Salming wasn't a chicken. Salming would drop the gloves or, take his part. We saw that in the '72 exhibition games against Team Canada in the Summit Series break between Canada and Russia, where Borje and a few others were not scared to take on the worst goons for Team Canada. But for some reason, Inge never really fit in with Toronto, despite scoring 84 goals over 4 seasons. He eventually ended up with St. Louis, where he cracked the 20-goal mark again in '78, then returned to Sweden for British IF, where he won that title again in 1980. Now, his career ended in 1982, where he spent his last 3 seasons with Brinas, and he turned 35 with 20 years of major European and major North America pro hockey. So very respectable career. Now, when his career ended, Hammarstrom began working as a European-based hockey scout, including a stint with Central Scouting. Now, from 1990 to 2008, he was a chief European scout for the Flyers. Now, famously, Hammarstrom is credited to being the scout who pushed the hardest for Philadelphia Flyers to select the great Peter Forsberg with a 6th overall pick of this '91 NHL entry draft. At the time, the pick was considered a surprise and to many a bit of a gamble, as Forsberg had been ranked considerably lower by the Hockey News in his 1991 draft preview, and most observers expected the player to be taken late in the 1st round and the early the 2nd round of the draft. But in the old adage of the Hockey News, who once said Matt Snaslin would never make it with Montreal, and Dominic Hasek was a disposable goalie, the Hockey News knows as much as I know about hockey as I know about gardening. I know enough to plant a garden, but I wouldn't trust the Hockey News to get anything right, because this is the team that once said in an article, no kidding by the way, that Paul Coffey was better than Ray Bourque. Okay, leave it at that. Have a good day. That's the story of Inge Hammarstrom. Bye.